Let's look at section 5.3, angles of triangles. We're going to start with the angle sum of a triangle as our key concept. The sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Now, one thing that we need to discuss are some of these words that we're talking about. First of all, we know sum means when you add something together, that's the answer. Interior means inside. If we talk about the interior of something, we're talking about the inside of something. So we're talking about the inside angles of a triangle, and hopefully we all know what a triangle is. So let's draw a triangle out here. And we're going to have, in a triangle, 3 interior angles. So we have X, Y, and Z. And what we want to do then is just write that the measure of angle X plus the measure of angle Y plus the measure of angle Z equals 180 degrees. So X plus Y plus Z equals 180. Okay, so a triangle is formed by 3 line segments that intersect only at their endpoints. A point where the segments intersect is called a vertex. The angle formed by the segments that lies inside the triangle is an interior angle. Remember we said that interior means inside. So let's use our highlighters. Let's go back up. We've highlighted the angle sum of a triangle, and we're talking about interior angles here. So interior angles, and we know that the interior angles of a triangle equal 180. Triangle has 3 interior angles. When you add them all together, they equal 180. So a triangle is formed by 3 line segments. They intersect at the vertex, and the angles that are formed inside are the interior angles. Let's take a look at the example. It says in triangle XYZ, if the measure of angle X is 72 degrees and the measure of angle Y is 74 degrees, find the measure of angle Z. Well, let's go back up. We know that our formula for this is X plus Y plus Z equals 180. We know that the measure of angle X is 72 and the measure of angle Y is 74, so we'll substitute those in, and we don't know what Z is, so we'll leave that as our variable. That's our unknown. When we add 72 plus 74, we get 146 plus Z equals 180. And then we'll subtract 146 from both sides, and we get Z equals 34 degrees. So I know there are easier ways to do this. You can use your head and all of those different things, but remember we're practicing equations and we want to find out how algebra and geometry relate, and so we're going to continue to do it using the algebraic equation to find our answer. So just follow the simple formula, substitute in what you know, and find what you don't know. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. On the next page, we have a picture of a flag, and it says find the value of X in this flag. So if we take a look over to the right, it looks like we're talking about the triangle on this side of the picture. So there are some things we know and some things we don't. First of all, we know that the sum of the interior angles, 1, 2, 3, are going to equal 180. So let's go ahead and write X plus Y plus Z equals 180. And then let's think it through a little bit. We can name them any way we want. This one is already x. Let's just call this one y and this one z. So we know that x is unknown. We don't know what x is. We know that y is 55. And let's take a look at z for a minute. There's no number here, but there is this little box in the corner that tells us that this is a right angle, and so we know that z is 90 degrees. And we know that when we add them all three together, we get 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and solve the equation. First thing we want to do is add our like terms. So we have 55 plus 90. So we have x plus 55 plus 90 is 145 equals 180. We want to get x alone, so we're going to subtract 145 from both sides, and we get x equals 35. So the measure of angle x is 35 degrees. We can check it by taking 55 plus 90 plus 35, and if they add up to be 180 degrees, then we know we're correct, and they do. Next, we have a practice problem. I want you to just a minute, and I want you to pause the video and work the practice problem, and then come back so we can continue with the lesson. Okay, hopefully you've had time to finish the practice problem, and you have an answer that you can bring with you to class tomorrow so we can discuss it and make sure you understood the concept. Let's take a look at our next concept. The next thing we're going to do is use ratios to find angle measures. In this case, it says the measure of triangle ABC are in the measures of triangle ABC are in the ratio 1, 4, 5, or 1 to 4 to 5. What are the measures of the angles? Well, the first thing we have to do is we need to say that x, or 1x, we know that we can put a 1 in front of it, equals the measure of angle A. Now I could have picked angle B or angle C, it doesn't matter, but I picked angle A for 1x. So then I go up here and I have a 4, so I'm going to say 4x equals the measure of angle B. And you've probably guessed by now that 5x equals the measure of angle C. So one thing we know about those interior angles of a triangle is that they all add up to be 180 degrees. So let's take what we know. We've got 1x, 4x, and 5x. So 1x plus 4x plus 5x equals 180. And then we need to solve it. So 1x plus 4x is 5x, plus 5x is 10x. 10x equals 180. And let's divide by 10 to solve it, because we know it was 10 times x. In order to undo the multiplication, we have to do the opposite, which is division. And we get x equals 18. So now we know that the measure of angle A equals 18 degrees. Because x was the measure of angle A. Well, now we need to find out what is the measure of angle B. Well, the measure of angle B is 4 times x. So we're going to take 4 times 18, and 4 times 18 is 72. So now we know that the measure of angle B is 72. Measure of angle C we know is 5x, so we're going to take 5 times 18. 5 times 18 is 90. So now we know the measure of angle C is 90 degrees. Once again, we can check it. We can take 18 plus 72 plus 90, and if they equal 180, then we know we're correct. So 18 plus 72 is 90, plus 90 is 180. So there's our check, and we know that we got that problem correct. All right, take a couple of minutes. I know this one's a little harder, and take a look at the practice problem. And let's set it up together before you get started. It says the measures of the angles of triangle LMN are in the ratio 2 to 4 to 6. What are the measures of the angles? So right away we know we're going to have 3 answers because we have 3 angles in the triangle. So we're going to say that 2x equals the measure of angle L. 4x equals the measure of angle M. And you've probably guessed that 6x is going to be the measure of angle N. Now, we know that when we add these three together, they're going to equal something. And I'm just going to put this out there and let you write what it's going to equal, and then you're going to solve it. And when you solve it, you're going to get x equals something, but we don't want to know x. So I want you to think about it a little bit, because the x is not the measure of angle L. 2x is. So you need to figure out, how do I find out what the measure of angle L is once I know what x is? How do I find out the measure of angle M once I know what x is? And how do I find out the measure of angle N once I know what x is? So this one's a little more difficult, but I want you to use your brains and try it and bring it with you to class tomorrow, and we'll go through it and make sure you understand the concept. We're going to end the lesson here with interior angles, and we'll do section 5.3 in two parts. We'll have 5.3b for angles of triangles exterior, and we'll work on that together tomorrow.